Hi, this is JB with Arborjet, and today we're going to do some troubleshooting with the QUIK-jet Air. Sometimes in the field you may have times where the gun doesn't prime, so I'm going to do a step-by-step process to find out where the problem is and how to solve it so we can get you up and running quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do a step-by-step process of where the problem may lie and the reason for the gun not priming. I start with the most simple or the easiest process first, and then I'll move on to the more difficult ones. I like to do it process of elimination, but easiest to hardest. First thing we check for, you notice here, you can see this gun is not priming. Okay, so the first thing I check is the needle. If the needle is clogged, it won't prime the gun. So let's see if that solves the problem. And no, it's still not drawing anything up. So next, what we move on to is it could be an issue of a clog in the bottle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line out and then I'm going to stick it in the bottle like this and see if I can get anything to pull up through there. And look, I am. Okay, you can see the water coming through the line. Okay, so I determined at this point that the clog is in this cap somewhere. Okay, so now what I do is I kind of use the QUIK-jet Air. I use it as a piece of equipment to clean this line out. So if you notice here, I can stick that needle right into that line. Okay, let's see if I can get the I unclogged it there. So I actually used the air from the QUIK-jet Air to unclog this. So that was the problem. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you, let's just say that wasn't the problem. I'm going to take you through the process of all the other areas where the problem may lie. So let's screw this back into here, like that. Okay, so let's just say that that wasn't the problem. The next step I do is I look at this valve right here. There's times when product may coagulate in there, cause this valve here to jam. It's just a spring with a little BB in there. So it's not, it doesn't take much to cause failure in that valve. So what I do is I remove the line, and if you notice this valve right here has an arrow. That's the flow of the product. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my toolbox, and this tool right here is actually the clean out tool for your needle. So if your needle was clogged, we would use this tool right here, like so, to clean out the needle. But I found another use for this tool. I can feel in here where the valve is, and I can actually feel that spring moving. So again, if it's not moving, you don't feel it moving, you're going to need to free up that valve. You may soak it in some of our clean jet. That may help. Over time, you may have to get a new valve, so I always recommend having an extra valve on hand, because if that is the problem and you can't fix it when you're in the field, if you have an extra valve, you can just plug a new one in and away you go. So let's move on now. Let's say that's still not the problem. I saved the best for last. Okay, so last but not least, it's usually got to be one of these spots in the equipment. Last but not least, there is a valve right here. Now to get to that valve, and I save this for the last because it's a little more difficult, but it's still an easy process. I'm going to pull out this line here, and you just push in that ring, and the line will pull right out like that. Okay, and we're going to loosen this. I actually want to get my clean out tool again, because I'm going to do the same with this valve as I did the last valve. Take that out, and then I'm going to, this is just hand tightened. You don't want this tightened too much, this little ring right here. So I'm going to, actually what I want to do is I want to bring this back. I want to bring that piston back. And just very gently slide that off. Be careful not to damage this glass barrel right here. It's very brittle. And then I'm going to do the same as I did on the other valve. And I'm going to, and of course that valve is working as well. So that's the whole process, but we actually determined that the problem here was in the cap. So that is how we troubleshoot a QUIK-jet Air when it's not working in the field. The only other thing you may want to look at is over time, you need to replace these O-rings. There's an O-ring here. There's an O-ring right there that the glass barrel sits on, and another O-ring, a flat O-ring up in the front there. Rebuild kits come with your initial purchase, but you should always have some extra ones on hand just in case you need them. And that's how we troubleshoot the QUIK-jet Air.